Hello, this is No Sleep Jerry, long-term friend of the channel and avid Vexium Swiftlurk. I'm going to be stepping in as the main commentator behind the channel while Wolf figures out a response to his situation. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a situation involving Acheeto, one of those edgy, says-it-how-it-is type commentators, kind of like Turkey Tom, you know? He says his raw, aggressive opinions without care for how people on the internet might think, and, you know, on one hand, a lot of people like that type of content. You know, obviously, I mean, he's getting the numbers, he's getting the views. On the other hand, a lot of the time, it's slop content, in the sense of, you know, you just look at the volume of content that's being produced, right? And I mean, if you look at Acheeto's channel, he's pushing, like, on some days, upwards of, like, 2 hours of content a day. And it's basically impossible for a content creator to produce that much content and be putting genuine good faith thought and effort into every single video they make. So when they produce slop content of just a heaping pile of borderline racist shit over a 40-minute span titled Black Fatigue just got a lot worse, it's kind of crazy because topics like this, right, genuinely require good faith research, good faith effort, and you actually have to understand deeply on a deep level what you're talking about if you don't want to come off as slightly racist. And, you know, there's no doubt that there is a large group of people that believe in these topics and support and feel and, you know, resonate with the message of Black Fatigue. That's 100% a thing. And that is definitely, like, the fan base and the viewer base that Acheeto is playing into in this video. I mean, it's a very, I hate to say popular thing to say now, but it's a trendy, like, it is a topic that is on a lot of people's minds, especially over the internet, especially when you're talking about slop commentators that are on the more edgy side. But, like, you know, on the inverse side, obviously people are going to be justifiably upset about terms like Black Fatigue. Like, the fact that people on the internet, like a large group of people on the internet, are using the term Black Fatigue unironically to describe something is kind of crazy, right? Equally speaking, to respond to creators making content on Black Fatigue, which I would say 100% it's kind of racist, right? To respond to that with a video called White Exhaustion is kind of crazy because, like, you know, I understand responding with the same energy when it comes to people, you know, making these claims that, you know, there is definitely merit to debunking a lot of the analytics used. A lot of them are biased sources. A lot of the situations brought up with, quote, Black Fatigue are 100% cherry-picked, right? When you have a marginalized community, obviously there's going to be analytics against them that look bad, that are biased and inaccurate. Which leads right into the first point in Antonio's video where he brings up a lot of news articles and such about white mass shooters. Now, I would say there is an analytical fact that the majority of people committing large-scale mass shootings, specifically when it comes to stuff like school shootings, it's mostly white people, right? It is. And for whatever reason, whatever social culminations come together, that's the analytical fact. But something that's going to become something of a theme in this video, and I'm going to say it now, he's using the exact same arguments that Black Fatigue people are using. And in this video, I do feel like it's kind of a, I'm doing the exact same thing you're doing, but against you, and you're going to have a problem with it now. Which is totally, like, it is a fair argument to use. The issue comes when there are better ways to respond than using the same stupid methods. Like, just attack the basic logic that's being used instead of directly just making the exact same arguments that Black Fatigue people are making, but in the other way. Now, you know, obviously because of this logical fallacy, the first thing Acheeto does in his response video is just immediately skip the first section and point out that it's cherry-picked source.
School shooting.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead because the first section of this video is him cherry-picking headlines in order to, you know, sort of say that white people are violent when, unfortunately, we have to look at not the raw numbers.
And, you know, that's kind of a fair argument because that's literally what he's doing. But I feel like, you know, like I said, it's intentional. But I also feel like on Acheeto's side, like I said, bro, just, like, actually, like, debunk the stuff with analytics. Like Acheeto says in his own video, fighting it with facts and logic.
Hopefully, I will get to respond to some of his arguments. I did pre-watch this, and he does end up making some claims that I plan on debunking with facts and logic, okay?
Fighting it with facts and logic. The dying hill of your avid Ben Shapiro enjoyer, I must say. But I mean, if you're going to take that stance of fighting with facts and logic, fight it with analytics and logic and do all that, but actually fight the battle. When you skip key points that someone you disagree with is making just because, they're making an error or they're making it logical, you come off as kind of an asshole who is not open-minded, who isn't actually intellectually engaging with a topic at all, and who's just trying to talk about a subject into an echo chamber. Because, if someone's making an argument that you disagree with, and you want to, respond to it, the best thing you're supposed to do is respond to it. Be like, okay, you're using cherry-picked sources. Analytically speaking, if I was, Acheeto in this situation, which I'd like to say, I hate the fact that I'm about to say these words that I'm about to say, and I am sorry to the internet for saying these words, but a good response from Acheeto, if I was Acheeto himself, would be something along the lines of, if, all these white people committing mass shootings, it's cherry-picked. Black people are more likely to shoot up schools. If he said that and then showed analytics, that'd be a better response than just, yeah, guys, these sources are cherry-picked, so I'm gonna ignore this part. I mean, with that being said, Antonio definitely has some amazing points in his video. A great example is Antonio kind of debunking or at least drawing a lot of gray area to the validity of the 1350 statistic, right? Which is 13% of the population does half the crime, right?
First video I seen actually was Charlie Kirk. He was talking about 1350. Blacks make up 13% of the population, but 50% of the crime. The video had millions of views, hundreds of thousands of likes. And when I went to the comment section, people were just talking about how bad black people are. I then went and did a Google search and debunked the theory in 20 seconds. All you have to do was Google it.
Simply put, the guy that's uploading, again, hours of content a day and who is a top 0.01% efficiency content farm isn't, at least to me, gonna come off as that sincere and that wholeheartedly caring about the argument. On the other hand, I feel like this whole situation is kind of stupid. And, if there's any more developments to the story, I'm going to 100% cover it. Because, it is a tunnel of stupidity that must be documented. Because the fact that a channel that has over 500,000 subscribers is genuinely beefing with someone who has less than 100K over, a argument that is based, any argument about race is kind of inherently racist if it is taking any side on a race argument. That's kind of how racism works. If you're taking a racist side, you're just racist. I don't care what side you're taking. If it's one race over another, or hating on one race over another, or whatever, it's just racist no matter how you slice it. But yeah, no, I hope you enjoyed this video. I definitely didn't, bro. I was walking through a minefield blindfolded with this one. I hope it turned out correctly because, these are very difficult topics to discuss, and I feel like people need to more openly talk about situations like this, genuinely. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed me as the new host of the channel. There's going to be many, many more bangers coming out in the near future, and yeah, if you like the content, feel free to join the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, subscribe, do all those fun engagement things, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.